Hey everyone, so this is a video that has been really requested. A lot of people really wanted me to do a book haul video. And so I decided that I was going to. I've had a few books that I picked up lately. I got a few of them. I think I got 3 books when I went away to see my grandma about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And then I have a few that I haven't read yet that I got a couple months ago. When I initially said I was going to record this book. But yeah, so these are a lot of books that I'm really into. Some are series, some are just individual books. But yeah, I know that I love books. I'm a huge bookworm. I love reading. I've always been that way since I was a little girl. I've probably read over 100 books, way over 100 books for sure. Since I was a little kid, I was always reading. I think I read Little Women when I was like 6 or 7. I've read a ton of books, and I read a lot of books that are a lot older than my age group, especially when I was like preteen to a child. I remember being in elementary school always reading these really mature books. I love fantasy novels. That's probably one of my favorite sort of types of books to read because there's a lot of escapism in them. You can just get away to another world. Harry Potter, everyone knows me and my Harry Potter obsession. I've been a huge Harry Potter geek since I was a little girl. Different books. I love romance plots as well. I'm a sucker. I'm a hopeless romantic. I love anything that's got romance in it and a love story, especially like star-crossed lovers and love triangles and stuff. It's fun to read, so yeah, that's kind of the books that I'm into. I want to quickly apologize for my appearance because I didn't have time to straighten my hair today. Actually, no, that's a lie. I have time. I have the day off today. I was just lazy and I didn't bother straightening my hair. So my hair is pretty naturally curly. This is actually really tame, to be honest. My hair, I always straighten it in most, like pretty much all my videos. Some really old videos from like last year when my hair was short. You can see the days that I didn't straighten it when it was short. I had it curly but short. So like the longer it gets, the curlier it gets. So, book haul. I'm going to show you guys all the books. Oh, this one's turned around. That's not right. Okay, let's do this properly. There we go. And there's one more. So we have all these books here. First we have the Carrie Diaries, which is Carrie Bradshaw from before Sex and the City. So you have like the regular Sex and the City books, because there was books before it was a TV show. But I have almost every season of Sex and the City. So my mom got this from, I think, Costco months ago, like a year ago probably, and she read it and then she gave it to me, and I haven't had a chance to get into it yet. For my birthday this year, ironically around May, the Carrie Diaries, The Summer and the City came out, and my mom bought it for me, but because I haven't read this one yet, I haven't got to read this one because obviously I got to read this before I read this. But yeah, it's really cute. I love the cover. It's like an actual diary looking. It's really pretty. It's got the little Carrie Diaries symbol on it. It's like a lock, so it's like, it actually looks like a nice diary, and it's pink, which is Carrie's like signature color. This one I wasn't too big on the cover. It does also look like a diary, but it's more like older, vintage kind of looking. It's got the brown. But yeah, I love it. This one I got a year ago. I haven't read it yet. Well, not really a year ago because my mom read it and she takes forever to read books, so I think she gave this to me before Christmas. And it's just been sitting in my room because I read tons of other books that were part of series and everything that I was into back then, and she doesn't take care of books. Like, I'm like super paranoid about my books. If you guys are like this, let me know below in the comments. But I'm super paranoid with my books. I'm like a Nazi with my books, where I have to keep everything perfect. Like, they have to be perfect. No, with paperbacks, I hate when people dog-ear the pages of any books. I hate when people bend them backwards. Hardcovers like this is like all, you can see, kind of all like ripped and stuff. I really need to get into those, but they've been sitting in a pile of my books to read pile that I have over it's by my door. And then there's one other book that I got around Christmas time I haven't read yet. It's from the House of Night books, and to be completely honest, these books are not well written. I'm not going to sugarcoat things and just be like, oh yeah, this book's great, because I just want to sound like I'm being nice. They're good, but they're definitely like a preteen book. I feel like these books are definitely more catered to girls who are 10 to 13. Even if I was and I'm just really, I've always been mature for my age. Like I said, I read older books. Even then, I probably wouldn't have been into them. But I started reading these, I think, when I was 15 or 16, no, it had to be at least 16 when they started coming out, but I started reading this series when it first came out. I remember when the first book came out and I saw it and it was like there's only one, and I started reading it and I thought it was pretty interesting. I was still in high school back then, and I was just like, okay, it's a series to read. Now I just continue getting the books because I want to finish reading them, because I've been into the series, so I want to know what happens, but I don't love it to the point where I need to read this like right now and find out what happens immediately, because I really don't care that much. Take on vampires is really interesting. It adds some mythology to it, which is really cool. I love classical mythology and all that kind of stuff. This is Awakened, which I think is the more recent one. I don't know, maybe there's a new one after that. Like, these are all the different ones here. So I have all these other books. Those are all the other ones in the series. It's the first one, second one, third one. Like, the first three I feel like were way better, and I feel like each book after those first three have just gotten kind of worse, especially with the writing. I feel like it's been rushed and there's not as much attention to detail. And just in general, the writing of these books are not comparable to any higher authors. Rochelle Mead, who does the Vampire Academy books, she's an amazing writer. One of my favorite authors, and she does an amazing job in those books. She's very descriptive and detail oriented, and just her writing level is just way higher than this one. This is a mother and a daughter that write books together, and I think PC Cast has another book series that she writes. I think I actually have a couple of them. I can't remember what they're called. But she's like on her own a really good writer. I feel like her daughter kind of makes it more immature of a novel series. I think it's just kind of, it should stop soon. Like, you know, when books go on and on and on just because they can keep selling books and it's part of a series, I feel like they just need to stop because they keep getting more complicated and they just need to stop. It needs to be done. Okay, so there's one more book that I picked up just randomly, like this one book. It was like 30% off. I got it a month ago, I think, and I've slowly been reading it. I started reading it when I was still doing my internship in July, and I was taking the train. I like to take the covers off when I'm reading the books because I don't like these getting ruined, because I said I'm like super anal about my books being perfect. So I took the cover off. It is the Immortal series. I was gonna say Ever because Evermore is the first one. But Ever is the main character, and I think that name is actually really cool. I'm been super obsessed with names and name meanings and stuff, but I think Ever is such a really pretty name, and it's very different. But yeah, this is the newest book in the series. I saw it and I was like, I just love this series so much. It's really, really good. I really love this series. It's about, they're mortals, so it's about Ever, who meets this guy. His name is Damon, and he is an immortal, and he like has lived like thousands of years or whatever, and she keeps being reincarnated, and they keep falling in love, and when they do, there's conflict, something happens. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but if you read the first couple books, you get introduced to that, but then it gets more complicated within the relationship. It's kind of just an entangled love story. It's very, I really love like the reincarnation and stuff. That kind of thing is really interesting to me as well. So I really found that enticing when I started reading three more. So these three here are three novels that I picked up with my grandma when we went shopping, because we always go to the bookstore. That's my thing. My grandma's always, she's a big reader as well, and we always would go book shopping together. So we made a point to go to Chapters and do some book shopping. So three new books. This book is amazing. I love this series. It's so interesting. This is the third one in the series. The first one is called Wings. The second one is called Spellbinding. Spells. There are these two here. I think this author waits a long time before each book. I think I've waited about a year for this. I think last summer was when I read Spells. So this one has been a long time waited, and I don't know why. I just had a feeling that this was going to be out, because when I was with my grandma, I was like, I have a feeling that there's this new book. I remember I was thinking about the series a lot, and I just had a feeling that this one was going to be out, and I don't really read about updates. If I just happen to go in the bookstore, they're there. I just had a feeling that this was out. This author is really, really good. This book is about fairies, but a really interesting take on fairies, and I don't want to get too into it because I can't really explain it without spoilers, but it is a bit of a love entanglement as well as a whole new world and rules and stuff. There's a whole fairyland world, and the way that the fairies, when they're born in seasons, they're seasonal fairies, and one season's more powerful than the other. It's really interesting, and I love those backgrounds. I love when you create a whole new world and sort of history of a character and a race. Even if it's like a cliche race that's been used over and over again, like vampires or fairies. Girl who was adopted, and she finds out that she was a fairy, and in the coolest way ever. Wings is such a great book to start the series off, and there's sort of a love story. She kind of like falls for this guy who helps her through things, that's a human boy, and then when she meets her fairy past, there's this boy named Tamani who is sort of like her soulmate, but it's kind of complicated and there's like that little love triangle there, so it's really fun and interesting, and I've been reading this a lot lately and really getting into it, and I can't wait to finish. I have 2 more books. Another one is a fairy book, so I'm just going to get into this. This is paperback, and I have this whole series in hardcover, but I don't know why I just boycotted this book when it came out. I'm not sure why. I have no idea. I can't even tell you, but I do love this series. It is called Radiant Shadow. It's called Radiant Shadows by Melissa Marr. It's a Wicked Lovely book, which the first one is called Wicked Lovely, which the first one I still feel like is my favorite, because they don't really follow the same characters. The same characters are in it, but they delve into other fairy characters, because this is a whole fairy realm, like dark fairies, summer fairies, like all sorts of stuff like that. It's really, really cool. It's very similar to that book, but this one's like a whole world of fairies, and there's kings and queens and hierarchies and stuff. That one is a little bit, but it's more about the love story. This one is about love stories. In each book there's a love story that happens and conflicts between that, but there's like way more consequences to do with their world and their race and everything, and they do intermix with the human people. You can't really see them. They put like a glamour on, so you can't tell that they're a fairy, whereas in this one the fairies sort of stick to just their world. So the last book that I picked up, I've been looking for this book, not really looking, but I've been meaning to pick it up for a really, really long time because a lot of people have talked about it. And there's like these smaller book chains, the stores are called Kohl's, it's all Canadian, that are really tiny, and there's one in the mall that I work at, and it's not a really good book experience when you go in there. Like, I love going to the big chapter stores where you can sit down, they have beanbag chairs or chairs, and you can sit and read, and there's no rush. It's like welcoming, and like it's just like come in and read and look for books and no rush, and it's really relaxing. I started reading the first chapter. A lot of people, you guys probably have heard of it. It's called 13 Reasons Why. This is the book. It's actually a really interesting cover, and I really, really like it. So groundbreaking. It's about this girl who commits suicide, and there's 13 reasons why, and I believe it's 13 people from what I've heard. I think so. She makes these tapes, and it's basically her explaining how these people contributed to her suicide, and before she dies and commits her suicide, she sends the package to this first boy, and it's all told in the perspective of the boy, I believe. Actually, at least the first chapter or 2 chapters that I've read. I think first chapter that I've read is about from his perspective. I think the whole book is, but I haven't read the whole thing yet. And he has to send, the only rules are that you have to listen to all of the tapes all the way through, and you have to send it on to the next person. So, it's really interesting, and it's sad, and it's kind of depressing, but it really shows you how the smallest things that you do or say to other people that you may not even realize can impact them in the smallest but yet biggest ways. And it really gives you some perspective on life. I'm gonna start like a book club. So after I finish reading a couple of these books, maybe you guys might be interested in like a book review session. Let me know if you guys would be interested in like a book review session, like a book club, and leave names for my book club below. I'd love to have like a little name for it. I don't know what we'd call it, but yeah, I'm open to suggestions. So if you guys have a really good, cute, unique, fun, glam sort of name for my book club on this channel, that would be amazing. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I really love making these videos because I love books so much, and I love sharing my book obsession with people. And yeah, if you guys have any book responses or any video responses of book hauls or book reviews that you guys have done, or book suggestions, definitely leave them in the comments. Suggestions for sure. I always love reading new books, so leave those below, and yeah, I'll see you all in my next video. Stay beautiful. Bye.